The New England Patriots are bringing the boom back to Foxboro, but what kind of coach will Dont'a Hightower make? Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxboro faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. Don't forget, Locked On Patriots is not only a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, but also free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So smash that subscribe button, download and follow wherever you get your podcasts to ensure that you get the latest episode as soon as it's available. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. Reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. And while you're out there showing some social media love to Locked On Patriots, please follow our account there as well at LO_Patriots. And folks, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. And folks, it has been an eventful day, an eventful week in Patriots Nation. A lot of new faces on the coaching staff, few new faces in the front office, and yeah, there's even a game to be played this weekend. I know, folks, it's not quite the same without your New England Patriots in it, but Super Bowl LVIII kicks off on Sunday evening between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. There's a lot to unpack, a lot to break down. And here today to help me do it all, my good friend, Thomas Murphy. Thank you for coming to me in friendship today, Don Murph.
Oh, happy to be here, Michael. Happy to be here. What better way to begin and start and begin the week and start the weekend than talking a little Patriots with you, my friend?
Absolutely. And Murph, we are going to talk about the new coaches. We are going to talk about the new front office. We're even going to give our thoughts on Super Bowl LVIII, and giving our thoughts on the game also includes Murph's Monster Keys. That's right. You've missed them. We've all missed them out there, but he's bringing them today. And folks, you are not going to want to miss this. Monster Keys to victory in Super Bowl LVIII. Who does Murph think is going to come away with the victory? I'm going to let him tell you that in just a bit. But where could we even think to start? But with the man who for 10 seasons was a mainstay for the New England Patriots defense, less than 1 year removed from officially retiring from the NFL, Dont'a Hightower is reportedly returning to the New England Patriots. Only this time he's returning on the sidelines. Hightower is going to be the linebackers coach under Jerod Mayo. Murph, I don't even think I need to really prod you in terms of your thoughts on this, but just your reaction to Dont'a Hightower's return. I think it's phenomenal, and I think this is a great hire for the New England Patriots.
So do I. Zeus returns to Mount Olympus. This is fantastic. You know, half of me, if I was a pizza, half of me would be excitement. The other half would be trepidation. You know, but there's, you know, definitely extra excitement in this hire. Jerod Mayo kept his word about bringing back more former players to be around this organization, to get this organization pointed in the right direction in a coaching direction. A year ago, he was asked whether or not he thought when Dont'a announced his retirement. Yeah, it was just a year ago, folks. That whether or not he thought Dont'a Hightower would be a good coach, and our good friend Bern Bushmaster pointed this out in an article that he did this afternoon over at Pat's Pulpit, and Mayo had said something to the effect that, you know, I do think that he'd be a good coach someday at this level, at any level, but when I get a chance to run my own ship, we'll try to make that happen. And he did. And no, I love this. And if there's somebody that commands respect in Patriots Nation, in the locker room, in meeting rooms, it's Dont'a Hightower. This is a man that could have had a much greater career than he did. But, you know, part of what made him great also held him back. His career was cut short by injuries, and if he had taken days off, if he had, just skipped this game against, the Jets in week 4 and healed up just a little bit, his resume would be even deeper than it is, and it's pretty damn deep. All
It
right,
is.
you can go down and you can go down and talk about you know uh, different players that missed a Super Bowl and possibly kept Tom Brady from winning his 7th here. Dont'a Hightower not being on the field in a couple of Super Bowls is probably a reason that Tom doesn't have 8 rings right now.
His statistical resume is nothing to sneeze at. It at 134 regular season and playoff games
Yep.
combined, 650 combined tackles, 30 sacks, 6 fumble recoveries, 2 interceptions at the linebacker position. Those are very good numbers. And it speaks very well to the type of coach that Dont'a Hightower is going to make. Because let's not forget, Murph, that for everything he did on the field, and I know Patriots fans are going to be replaying that Super Bowl 51 tackle on Matt Ryan
Yeah.
a lot this weekend, and they should. It's Super Bowl time, folks. It's the perfect time to bring it out. One of the great plays that you'll ever see in Super Bowl history and Patriots history, without a doubt. But the thing that I think really earned him this spot is that green dot that adorned the back of his helmet for so many years, acting as the on-field director of traffic, I like to say, out there, making sure everyone is in their proper place,
Yep.
relaying the information from the coaches to the players, not knowing just how to relay that information, but also being able to do so using a pseudo shorthand that's only used on the football field that only his teammates are going to be able to pick up. Dont'a Hightower is an extremely intelligent football player, and I think it's going to make him an extremely intelligent coach. Murph hit the nail right on the head. The respect that he's going to command day one in that huddle from guys he's played with, and even from those he hasn't played with, to me, I think this is an ideal hand in glove fit. If Jerod Mayo was looking for continuity, and folks, we're going to be talking about continuity later on in the show today with the rehiring of Mike Pellegrino and Brian Belichick, this is really a way of the Patriots kind of getting the band back together again without going full on band back together. I couldn't be happier with this hire, not just from a personal standpoint, Murph. You and I hold Dont'a in such a high regard as a person, also as a player, but logistically, this is such a good fit for them as well.
Right, exactly. On and off the field, in the locker room, the swagger that he brings with 3 Super Bowl rings, and just his attitude about the game. This is a man that loves football. Just
Absolutely.
loves football like few other people on the planet. If Tom Brady, if you could put Tom Brady in a linebacker's body, he would be Dont'a Hightower.
Absolutely, folks. And again, that type of respect you command the minute you walk into the coach's room. Tom Brady obviously had it in the quarterback's room. That guy walks into any room and automatically is going to command the respect of anyone that's there. Dont'a is going to do that. Well, this was a 4-time team captain selected by his teammates, folks. So while he was playing here, guys held him in very high regard. You're already seeing guys like Juwan Bentley, Jelani Tavai tweeting out, and really happy to see Dont'a Hightower back in that Patriots coaching room and on the sidelines at Gillette Stadium. And I keep coming back to this, and something always stuck in my head about Dont'a Hightower potentially becoming a coach in this league. Even before Jerod Mayo had said what he had said earlier this year about Dont'a Hightower making a great coach. I think back to a Zoom conference when we had the opportunity to speak to Bill Belichick last year. They were talking about people like Juwan Bentley and Jelani Tavai and linebackers that had taken their skills and elevated them to a new level because of the high football IQ they bring to the field and their leadership abilities, that intrinsic leadership. And Bill Belichick said, I quote, "It's a stretch to compare almost anybody to Dont'a Hightower. You're talking about one of the best linebackers that's ever played here." Bill Belichick coached arguably the greatest linebacker to ever put on shoulder pads in Lawrence Taylor. You know the high regard he holds him. To make a comment like that about Dont'a Hightower when he's had several, and I mean several, talented, high-level playing linebackers in his arsenal throughout the years, that reverence that Bill Belichick spoke of Dont'a Hightower with is something that really does not happen often, and it's something that is very, very well deserved. Anyone worried about this hire, go back to that quote. That should tell you all you need to know from someone who knows a thing or two about coaching and about linebackers.
On the biggest stages, under the brightest lights, Dont'a
Absolutely.
Hightower stepped up like few other people that I've ever seen play this game.
Mm,
Um, we all talk about the Butler did it. The Butler wasn't able to do it if Dont'a Hightower hadn't made a stop the play before then and
mm,
made
very good
the
point.
Seattle Seahawks think twice about running the ball
Mm.
a second time at the goal line. And believe me, that was in the back of everybody's head that day on that sideline as to what's the easiest way to get into the end zone. And Pete Carroll thought throwing the ball was, and the Butler did do it, but he wasn't going to do it without Dont'a.
But Murph, there's still a lot to cover today. We haven't even scratched the surface yet
Right.
of the Patriots' changes because, as we all know, folks, Murph loves to discuss those big round men up front. And we're going to do that, folks, in just a moment because Murph is going to share his thoughts on the new Patriots O-line coach, Scott Peters. We're even going to talk about the secondary solidarity with Brian Belichick and Mike Pellegrino coming back. And we're also going to preview Super Bowl 58 with Murph's Monster Keys. Folks, you want to stick around. You don't want to miss it. Keep it right here on Locked On Patriots, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as Q1 2024 validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of the first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer. Murph, one of the hires that the Patriots made this week was to the offensive line.
Yep.
One of the moves that they made, we had originally talked last week about the possibility of the Patriots hiring Andy Dickerson from the Seattle Seahawks. A lot of people thought that was a logical move. They pivot and they go with Scott Peters of the Cleveland Browns. Spent the last 4 years coaching in Cleveland. He assisted Bill Callahan, which definitely speaks well of his resume, also serving under Alex Van Pelt. Your original, Murph, when you look at this, because you see things us mere mortals don't see when it comes to those big round men up front and the offensive line, your thoughts to this hire, good or bad for the Patriots? What does it mean moving forward?
I think it's good for the Patriots, and I think this kid is a comer. He's somebody that's definitely moving up the ladder, as we should say, as to guys to watch. And the Patriots got in on this early. I think it's fantastic. I think he comes from you know, a place of familiarity with Van Pelt and with Wolf. It's becoming the Wolf Pack here in Foxboro, guys. It's Wolfboro. Um, and no, I think it's a fantastic hire. He has, like I said, not only familiarity with the front office, with his head coach, but in a myriad of blocking schemes that he has run throughout his career. I'm telling you right now, you're going to see a lot more outside zone stuff.
Yeah, Murph, you're right on the money. And I think all of the moves that the Patriots have made on the offensive side of the ball have supported that. T.C. McCartney and the system that he coached under Kyle Shanahan. I know Kyle Shanahan is using a little bit of a different, more diverse style now. Bottom line, folks, Murph is absolutely right. This does zero in on that outside zone concept. And this is something that Scott Peters is very adept to being able to coach. In his first season in Cleveland, you see guys like Jack Conklin. You see guys like Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Teller, earn honors, all-pro honors. Jack Conklin was a first-team all-pro in Scott's first year in Cleveland. Bitonio, Teller, they earned second-team honors. The Browns also ranked third in the league in rushing before finishing first in 2021 with a 5.09 average mark. That's pretty good, folks, when you're looking at teams that need to be able to establish the run to really ignite their offense. This guy knows how to coach an O-line to do that.
Yep.
That was the highest average by a Browns team since 1966. So you want to talk about giving this team a little shot in the arm. Scott Peters is capable of doing it. I like the fact that he is a former player. I mean, I know Adrian Clem was as well, but I love the fact that this guy was a former fourth rounder and he's played for multiple teams.
Right.
Murph, you've got guys on this roster like Sidiso, like Antonio Mafi, that are not coming from the top echelon of, a first round pedigree type pick.
Right.
I understand Cole Strange was not, he wasn't projected as a first rounder, but he's got that first round cachet. He's a first rounder, for better or for worse. That's where he was chosen. If the Patriots do go offensive line early in this draft, Joe Alt, folks, he's going to have that pedigree. But guys like Mafi, guys like even a Connor McDermott, if you want to have him hang around and be a role player here, someone that can come in, they're going to need someone that they can relate to. And I think Scott Peters can relate to these guys and show them that you can be an impact player no matter where you were drafted, because you're an important part of this line. The line is only as good as its weakest link.
Right.
And you never want to be that guy. So I think this gives him an opportunity to really speak and communicate with these players the way maybe some have not been able to do since Dante Scarnecchia. And that really, I think, gives him a leg up on the competition. And before we take our leave from Peters, I did want to drop this tidbit because I found this fascinating. Murph, you know I'm a big Cobra Kai fan. I'm a big Karate Kid fan. Yeah. Not that this correlates in any way, folks, but Scott Peters has an extensive martial arts background. I'm not sure if you knew about 2 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world championships in submission grappling.
Yep.
These are techniques that he uses to coach the team, folks.
Yeah.
So this is something that I really do believe could help this team in the trenches and maybe give them a little bit, maybe give them a little more toughness, maybe give them some technique to win some of those battles down below. Joe Kim, Patriots' longtime skill development coach, also uses martial arts to be able to coach. That could be a budding relationship to watch. I'm really curious to find out if these two guys spend a lot of time on the field together during OTA, during minicamp, and during training camp. I'll be keeping my sharp eye out in Foxboro for this one in the spring.
Bring Andre Tippett back. We'll get him coaching. Andre Tippett was huge into jiu-jitsu and karate when he was playing back in the day, and you all know how well that worked out for him. So start classes. We got room.
The offensive line right now is going to have a new direction. The offense as a whole is going to have a new direction, but I think the Patriots are also being smart here when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, Murph, because they're opting for continuity. As you can see on the screen, folks, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm calling it secondary solidarity because the Patriots are maintaining status quo in that defensive backfield. Murph and I are going to explain why that's a good thing in bringing back Brian Belichick and Mike Pellegrino when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, are you the kind of drivers that like to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Well, our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is perfect for city drives and for great escapes. Their class exclusive Google built-in is your always updating assistant, and you can call on it for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Nissan doesn't stop there. Oh, no, folks. Nissan's incredible lineup also includes the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. It has room up to 8. It also has an expansive cargo capacity and an advanced available 4x4 capability. With 284 horsepower and up to 6,000 pounds of towing capability, when adventure calls, the Pathfinder is there to answer. Take the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, or the Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Pats fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots and spending part of your weekend, part of your Super Bowl weekend, absorbing the wisdom and counsel of yours truly, but most importantly, our guest today, the Don of Locked On Patriots, the legendary Thomas Murphy, joining me. Murph, in the previous segment, we talked about the Patriots' offensive line and the changes it may mean for the Pats on the field. But we all know that this defense last year, Murph, played at a very high level. The Patriots, I think, made a smart move promoting DeMarcus Covington to
Yep.
defensive coordinator. Murph, you and I have talked about this. You've been very vocal. This is the move you wanted to see
Yeah.
from the beginning, and I think the Patriots did a great job here. Jerod Mayo obviously is the head coach now, but he's always going to have his eye on the defense. That's where he played. That's his specialty, his expertise. He's going to have his hand in that. But you and I were a little bit concerned about the secondary, especially when
Right.
Stephen Belichick left this team to accept the defensive coordinator post at the University of Washington.
Right.
They didn't have that guy in the defensive backfield that could coach from top to bottom, that had
That's it.
the ability to have that secondary learn their coverages and be able to support what the front seven was doing.
Right.
That has to meld together into a complete unit, folks, in order for the defense to be successful. I think the Patriots have taken a big step in maintaining that continuity, that secondary solidarity that I've mentioned on today's placard, in not only retaining Brian Belichick, but also Mike Pellegrino. Both Pellegrino and Belichick have worked together for a number of years. I think they've had good success individually, good success as a team. They both work well with Mayo. Why is this so significant for the Patriots to maintain continuity in their defensive backfield?
The name of the game on that side of the ball is once again all three phases working together. Okay, now we as we talked about earlier with Belichick leaving to go to college, we worried about that because he was the conduit, he was the go-to, between the defensive line, between the linebackers, and between the defensive backs. He melded everything together. He made sure everybody was on the same page. But bringing Pellegrino back, who I was afraid was going to follow Belichick out there
Mm,
to the West Coast, is paramount in this. A lot of the guys on defense are going to be coming back. They are going to spend money to keep this unit together because, quite frankly, it's a great unit. It
hmm
really is. This is a great unit, even with everything that they went through last year. You could talk about you can talk about the different issues that hit this team. Jack Jones, J.C. Jackson. It's they're all issues that Pellegrino and Steve worked their way through and kept this and injuries with Gonzalez and kept this unit as one of the top in the NFL. Not just in the conference, not just in the division, but in the entire NFL. And having that familiarity when these guys walk back into the room
hmm
and not sit there and say, I mean, we've all been in school and you sit there and you watch a substitute teacher walk in. You don't, or somebody that's going to be there for a while. You don't know what's going to hit you in the face. Well, with
mm
coaching, that's a huge thing, and having this familiarity, having guys that they recognize when they walk into the room, or knowing that these guys are there, guys that they're familiar with, guys that they know how to work with.
hmm
Okay, guys that they know that are there in their best interest, and to put them in the best position to win is just it's a fantastic feeling.
It is. And for a group, especially like the cornerbacks that went through so much upheaval last
Right?
season, and let's face it, Murph, it was not the easiest of
No.
years for the New England Patriots cornerback room. Um, Christian Gonzalez goes down with a torn
Yep.
labrum. Jack Jones, that situation did not work out. He ends up being released and he
Right.
goes elsewhere. JC Jackson comes in, plays reasonably well. I don't want to say very well because he
Yeah.
struggled at times.
Yep.
And then obviously the way the season ended for him was not ideal. It wasn't the
No.
greatest of circumstances for him. And bottom line, I think there is also concern about his ability to rebound and come back this year.
Yeah.
There's that 14 million in cap savings that the Patriots can create by releasing him. So
Yep.
that could definitely come into
Sorry.
play as well. So now you're looking at a cornerback room that may be dealing with even more upheaval coming into this season
Yep.
here in New England. But having a solid voice, having a steady voice at the helm to guide this team is definitely big. And it's something that is important for this team as well. And let's face it, I mean, Mike Pellegrino was a very good X's and O's coach, too. It's not
Right.
just about the calming effect that he has on his players. This cornerback group, with everything that we just mentioned and they went through, still only allowed 6.6 yards per pass attempt last year,
Yep.
19 total touchdowns through the air. That's not bad considering what they had to go through. That type of continuity is important, and you're seeing it on the safety side as well with Brian Belichick coming back. I talked about this a little bit yesterday here on Locked On Patriots. Even though there were difficulties that the Patriots had at times with the cornerbacks and the upheaval that they went through, Brian Belichick always kept that safeties group steady. In 3 of the 4 seasons that Brian has been here as the safeties coach, the Patriots have finished among the NFL's top 3 in interceptions. That tells you that there's a lot of continuity that needs to happen. And again, you're looking at guys that may be coming and going. Devin McCourty is now 2 years removed from retirement. Kyle Duggar, as much as we want to
Right.
bring him back, may be on his way out. Adrian Phillips, unfortunately, could be on his way out as
Yep.
well. So Jabril Peppers is going to be relied upon to be that rock, that solid presence for the Patriots.
Captain.
Bringing back Brian Belichick is definitely smart, and
It
he
is.
absorbs his brother's wisdom and counsel as well, and someone that can coach from top to bottom, that has experience with the front seven and the secondaries. He's going to impart a lot of that to Brian, and I think Brian took a lot of notes these last few years under his brother's tutelage as well. So good move for the Patriots, I think, all the way around to bring back both these guys.
I do. Right now, when you look at this coaching staff, Mike Pellegrino has been here over a decade. He came here in 2015, almost a
Mhm.
decade. I'm sorry, and Belichick joined the staff in 2016. These are the 2 most senior coaches on Jerod Mayo's staff. They
Mhm.
have more experience than any other coach on this team, and having this stability, showing that this franchise can retain these kind of coaches and not have them book off to greener pastures, or maybe somewhere for a couple of bucks more, is a good sign. It shows stability in the franchise, and it shows quite frankly a good head on the Wolves' shoulders.
Absolutely. Very good point on those guys being long tenured here in New England. Played big roles in the Patriots Super Bowl winning teams for Super Bowl 51.
Right.
I mentioned that yesterday with Brian Belichick and all the work that he did with schemes and, watching film and things of that nature. That was really a big move for him. And of course, Mike Pellegrino being an integral part of the Patriots winning Super Bowl 53 against the Los Angeles Rams.
Right.
He also helped coach Stephon Gilmore to a Defensive Player of the Year campaign in 2019 as well, the year he was promoted to cornerbacks coach. So
Yep.
these guys know how to work with viable talent, and they know how to win. They've been in winning environments, Super Bowl winning environments. They know what it takes to get to that level.
Rings.
Folks, the Pats are not close to that right now, but they're aspiring to get there. And it's guys like this, coaches like this that know
Yep.
and have been there before that are going to help you get back to prominence. So, yeah, pushing the right buttons, Murph, in Foxboro. And I
definitely
think so far this coaching staff is impressive, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do on the field. But as I just alluded to, unfortunately, they are not close to contending for a Super Bowl title. And Murph, it is Super Bowl weekend. It just doesn't hit the same way it used to, but that doesn't mean we can't forge some monster keys. That's right. Our Green King of Sting, our monster master of disaster himself, has crafted the monster keys. This is going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait for Murph to share these. It sounds interesting. I'm going to let him roll with the ball in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, there is no better time than right now to use Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. In fact, they're the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. And here's one, folks, you're really going to love. Prize Picks even offers injury insurance so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player projection won't count against you and the rest of your entry stays live. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. So don't delay, do it today. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code LockedOnNFL, LOCKEDON for a first deposit match up to $100. That's a first deposit match up to $100 by going to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code LockedOnNFL. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots and spending part of your Super Bowl weekend here on the pod. And once again, there is a football game to be played on Sunday. The Kansas City Chiefs were the champions of the American Football Conference. The San Francisco 49ers, champions of the National Football Conference. They will do battle at Allegiant Stadium in Paradise, Nevada, Las Vegas, as these two teams lock horns in Super Bowl 58. The Chiefs find themselves in similar position to what the Patriots used to go through. This is now becoming old hat for them. Kansas City's been to the Super Bowl 4 of the last 5 seasons and are looking to bring home their 3rd Super Bowl title in 4 seasons. But this is not exactly a David and Goliath story either, Murph. The Niners have been a force the past few years. They've been to 4 of the NFC Championship games during the same span that Kansas City was getting to the Super Bowl. The Niners have reached the Super Bowl only twice, though, the first time being a loss to the Chiefs in the 2019 campaign. So, Murph, there is a game to be played, and there are monster keys to be cut. And Murph, being the benevolent individual that he is, even though the Patriots are not playing in this game, he still managed to cut a set of monster keys that are going to be interesting. I'm not going to tip your hand one way or another. I'm going to give you the opportunity to reveal your monster keys to victory for either the Chiefs or the Niners, depending on which way you're leaning. I think I know which way you're leaning, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to roll that out. I don't want to steal your thunder. What are your monster keys to victory for the winning team?
Well, my monster keys are all based on barbecue in Kansas City. What the Niners are going to have to do is, take a page right out of the Belichickian book. Okay, what they need to do is go and get after Patty Mahomes, get him off his spot. These breakdown plays, be damned. Getting to Patrick Mahomes and getting him on the ground is paramount to them winning this game. And I think that the Niners have the ability and the personnel to be able to do that. It begins and ends there and getting to Patrick Mahomes. Secondly, on that side of the ball is somebody body up Travis Kelce. All right. That's it. That's all you have to do to stop Travis Kelce is body him up. When he does catch the ball, he's catching the ball and he's going to the ground. We are not talking about a yak master here. This is not the prototypical Gronkian type of I'm going to drag 6 defenders on my back into the end zone. All right. Those numbers just aren't there because he's not that kind of player. Now, I'm not taking anything away from him. He's a fantastic receiver. He's just not a tight end. But what you have to do is body him up at the line of scrimmage, get him out of rhythm with Patty Mahomes and not allow him to find that soft underbelly, that soft spot in the defense, in your zone coverages, and allow him to move the chains. All right. On the offensive side of the ball, this is a Christian McCaffrey type of game.
Absolutely.
All right. Christian McCaffrey has to go off for the 49ers to win this game. At the end of the day, Christian McCaffrey has to be the MVP of this Super Bowl. If the Niners can turn that key, it's going to get them a lot further to victory on Sunday and giving themselves one of their own rings.
Yeah, without question. That's a very, very good point. And, I think conventional wisdom always tells you that in order for the Niners to be able to get after this, in order for the Niners to be able to win this game, that they have to use that front pressure. Guys like Nick
Right.
Bosa, Javon Hargrave,
Right.
Chase Young, Eric Armstead. That's a hell of a front seven.
It is.
You're automatically going to think pressure Patrick Mahomes, put him under pressure constantly. The numbers for San Francisco's pressure defense, folks, are not exactly
No,
overwhelming. I want to credit Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated for compiling these and kind of putting them into a
I know.
nice little neat package. San Francisco tied for 7th with 48 sacks, 17th in pressure rate at 21%, and the 49ers also finished 27th in a hurry rate of 5.4%.
Right.
Getting near Patrick Mahomes is not enough, folks.
No.
That's not going to stop him. You're not going to be able to just pressure him and think that that's going to be enough. The
You have to
Niners
get
have
home.
to, exactly, they have to get home, and they also have to get creative. They have to try to draw out Kansas City offensive line and those Kansas City receivers, get them to make mistakes, force them into being the architect of their own disaster. That's what the Patriots did for so many years against so many teams. And we're seeing the Chiefs do it. And Steve Spagnuolo has been very good about
Right.
allowing his defense to bait teams into doing stupid things. And that worked a lot this year, believe it or not. But this is where Steve Wilks has to come out in terms
Right.
of the defensive game plan against Patrick Mahomes. Because we know Steve Wilks loves to play single high zone. That's where he's at his most comfortable. You keep everything in front of you before
Right.
you rally and get to the tackle. Patrick Mahomes is very good at being able to get through zone defenses. We've
Right.
seen him do it time after time. But if there is an area where the 49ers defense does shine above the rest, it's limiting big plays.
Right.
San Francisco permits only 9.6 yards per reception. That was the best in football this year. The flip side to that is that's where the Chiefs are vulnerable. They rank 24th in the league, 10.4 yards per catch, mostly because they just don't have anyone else other
No,
than Rashee
there's no
Rice
yak.
or Travis Kelce that can
Right.
get the ball. So if San Francisco can keep Rice and Kelce from torching its zones and they do a good job of tackling, just like Murph said, then yeah, I think they have a puncher's chance in this one. This to me could be the essence of the
No
game. If
yak.
San Francisco plays their game and they play the way they're capable of playing and the way they tackle that type of zone scheme,
Yep.
could mean the difference between victory or defeat.
And it circles around to on the offensive side of the ball for San Francisco is Brock Purdy.
Mhm.
Brock Purdy needs to put together 4 quarters of football. He's not going to
Yeah,
get away with playing a good half. That's not going to happen. Okay,
yeah.
if he comes out gangbusters and this team, this Kansas City team we've seen it time and time again, erase 14, 18-point deficits in minutes.
Mm,
Okay, if not seconds. And you can't do that. True, Mahomes doesn't have the weapons that he's had in the past that have been able to do this. But no, the San Francisco 49ers are going to have to play 4 quarters of football. Unfortunately, Kansas City is not going to have to play 4 quarters of football to be able to win this game. At the end, though, I think this is going to be a much lower scoring game than a lot of people are predicting. I'm predicting, go ahead and take San Francisco and take the under. I think at the end of this game, it's going to be a 24-17 victory for San Francisco.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point, and I'm glad that you made that, and especially when it comes to Purdy, because Purdy right now is going to have to erase a trend that could be a problem in this
Yep,
game for him, and that's making bad throws. He ranked 21st in the league this year, folks, with 16.3% of his throws being considered bad throws.
that's
He
it.
cannot have those in
Hit
this
the
game.
open man. That's the only
Absolutely.
pass that you should be throwing this
Right.
Sunday is to the open man. On the other side of the ball, when we're talking about pressure on Kansas City, on Patrick Mahomes, it's not just dragging him to the ground, but make him get rid of the ball.
Mhm.
Okay, make him throw those passes out of bounds where nobody can get them, and hopefully he tosses one over across the middle that you're able to pick. Win the turnover battle, get to Patrick Mahomes, allow Christian McCaffrey to be the number 1 option, to be the
Boom.
MVP at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. 49ers are hoping to keep the Kansas City Chiefs on their heels. Christian McCaffrey has to be
Yep.
that option. And if you're the Chiefs, you cannot afford to let Christian McCaffrey get into
No.
space. He can take advantage of that Chiefs defense that is not so great when it comes to allowing yards per catch. They allowed 4.5 yards per catch, tied for 24th in the league. This is an area where Kyle Shanahan is definitely going to go on the attack. But if you're the Chiefs, you want to take him down on first contact. If McCaffrey is able to get into
Good
space,
luck.
his ability will allow him to dictate the tempo of this game.
In the words of Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, I would rather be MVP of the Super Bowl than the MVP of the NFL.
Absolutely, because it means you're holding
Wear
that
Christian.
trophy.
Wear that. Yep.
Absolutely. It means you're holding that trophy at the end, folks. And again, I understand Super Bowl weekend is a bittersweet time for all of us out here in Patriots Nation. It's not the same.
Somebody
we all
to root
have
against.
images. Exactly. We all have images of Tom Brady hoisting Lombardi trophies
Right.
and Bill Belichick standing on the dais. Folks, unfortunately, those days have passed us by here in New England, hopefully
Right.
to return in short order. But for the time being, there is a nemesis of Patriots Nation that is playing this weekend, and for better or for worse, and I mean this with every amount of respect possible for the Kansas City Chiefs and the amazing organization and great players they have there, it definitely is fun to root against the favorite.
Yep.
And that's why Murph and I are going with the underdog in the San Francisco 49ers in this one. So on that note, I thank my good friend, the Don here on Locked On Patriots, the Counter Murphy Fisto himself, Thomas Murphy, for joining us here today, and especially for lending his monster keys to Super Bowl 58. Murph, what can I say? You're always there for the handoff. You're going to be there again with me on Monday to answer all of our everydayers' great questions when it comes to Mailbag Monday. But in the meantime, please enlighten our listeners where they can reach out to you and what you may have cooking in Murph's kitchen over the weekend.
You can check me out on X at TMurph207. Of course, this weekend, it's Super Bowl weekend, so I will be doing sausage and peppers. I will be doing a lovely stuffed shells, and there will be a smorgasbord of cheese and crackers and anything else. Chips and dips. There's no chains and whips in this house, but there's chips and dips, and that's it. I'm just gonna enjoy the weekend. I'm spending the weekend in the kitchen, cooking, getting ready for Sunday, and a little UConn victory tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, folks. You know what? Definitely. And, Murph will be available on Open Table. He'll have seatings available all day long. So check that to be able to go in and to sample his smorgasbord that he's having over in the great state of Connecticut. But no, all kidding aside, it's always my honor, always my privilege to share the microphone with you each and every week here on Locked On Patriots. Not only do you help me open up the mailbag, and folks, these are heavy mailbags that are being submitted here to Locked On Patriots. Murph does it, but you close the week in style, and you can't ask for any more than that. And folks, we will continue our coverage here next week on the pod. But in the meantime, on behalf of my good friend Thomas Murphy, I'm Mike DeBate, reminding you all to stay safe, to stay well, and to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Super Bowl 58. Don't forget to turn those monster keys, and we'll see you back here again on #Mailbag Monday right here on Locked On Patriots.